In one of the most remote places on Earth, a recent discovery has left scientists stunned. Radiation is emanating from the ice in levels never seen on Earth before, with no scientific reason why. After thousands of years, hidden by thick ice and protected by deadly temperatures, could the secret to what really lies under the Antarctica ice finally be revealing itself? Or is it just not able to remain hidden any longer? What may lie buried underneath the ice in Antarctica could very well be the greatest reveal in all of human history. The truth about Antarctica may finally be revealing itself to the world. These recent findings have literally left scientists and physicists alike baffled. The stir revolves around the recent finding of a strange form of radiation they have detected coming from a region of the South Pole. This volcanic landmass at the bottom of the world, known as Ross Island, Antarctica, is the site of one of the greatest mysteries of modern physics. The finding comes from the scientist working on the Antarctic Impulsive Antenna, also known as ANITA. What ANITA detected was an anomaly that defies the laws of physics. Cosmic rays, which normally rain down on Earth from space, were instead erupting out of the ground. You would expect high-energy neutrinos to be raining down from the sky, not coming up from the Earth. But that is exactly what they found. Physicists and astronautic scientists around the world have been left questioning what kind of particle could be coming out of the surface of our planet, and why has it never been detected before? To this day, it still remains a mystery of modern science. Antarctica remains one of the last unexplored geographical regions of our planet, at least unexplored, as far as we have been told. But for the majority of humanity, it is still one of the greatest mysteries with which we as norms are faced with today. What we do know for sure is that Antarctica is a land of extremes, with nearly 98% of the ground covered by an ice sheet, said to be up to 3 miles thick. A mountain as towering as Japan's Mount Fuji at 12,400 feet would not even break the surface. Temperatures regularly fall to below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with wind speeds up to 200 miles an hour. During its peak season, it is home to roughly 4,000 scientists and military personnel. Although it was discovered nearly 250 years ago, scientists have more questions than answers when it comes to this frozen continent, due to the sheer depth of the ice covering its landmass. The surface of Antarctica is unable to be seen with the naked eye. Theorists propose that it is not just the geology that is hidden from us. They suggest there is far more human and perhaps non-human activity happening in Antarctica than we have actually been led to believe. Rumors of extraterrestrial activity in Antarctica have circulated for years. But now at long last, military personnel who have been stationed on the frozen continent are starting to speak out to these claims. In February 2019, a former Navy flight engineer, who to conceal his identity goes by the name of Brian, has come forward with information about several strange events he has witnessed during his time in Antarctica. Brian claims to have been based on the southern tip of Ross Island at the U.S. McMurdo Station. In Antarctica, the U.S. McMurdo Station is the main logistics center that services nearly all of the scientific outposts on the continent. In Brian's own words, he says he was part of a group that resupplied camp outposts and science teams located between McMurdo Station and the South Pole. He says during the 95 to 96 season, his crew was doing a lot of back and forth to both McMurdo Station and the South Pole, mainly cargo resupply and personnel exchanges. In December of 1996, while flying a mission from McMurdo to the South Pole, the loadmaster in the back of the plane got on the intercom and said, "Is anyone else seeing this? We have objects to the left of the plane. They look like they are shimmering. Are you all seeing this?" Brian says he jumped up and ran to the flight deck to get a look at what the loadmaster was seeing. Brian claims when he looked out the large flight deck windows, he was astonished by what he saw. He said he had never seen anything like it before. There were 4 or 5 disc-shaped objects hovering in formation over a mountain peak below. Brian said he told the loadmaster, "I have never seen anything like that. I have no idea what those are." While he was observing the mysterious objects, suddenly one of the objects took off by itself and flew at an incredible speed to the next mountaintop and stops. Then another one in the group took off and aligned with the first one on the far mountaintop. Brian claims they did this one by one in formation. Then just as suddenly as they moved the first time, they all left at an incredible speed, away into the distance, and were gone. Is it possible that Brian's sighting of the unidentified flying objects may have been somehow connected to the discovery of the cosmic rays that are emanating from the frozen continent? According to Brian, sometime around October 1985, an emergency call had come into McMurdo Dispatch. A scientist at Davis Camp was gravely injured by a boiler explosion and needed immediate medical attention. At the time of the call, Brian's evacuation crew was 6 hours away from the critically injured patient. But because they had standing orders from headquarters to avoid flying over what was a so-called air sampling station that was dead center on the most direct route for the flight, they were told they would have to deviate on their route. Brian claims they were given direct orders to deviate their flight path. He said he believed it was a 30-plus mile deviation away from the air sampling station, but the officers on board did not believe they had that kind of time and suggested that they fly straight over the air sampling station and not deviate their path. They believed, based on the nature of the injuries of the patient, they may not have that kind of time. In taking the direct route, they would save at least 30 minutes of flight time. But where the air sampling station was supposed to be, the crew faced something none of them had ever seen before. Brian claims the entire crew saw what looked like a giant indentation in the ground. It appeared to be a huge hole in the ice. Brian said it looked like a snow ramp that went down in the center. The plateau at the South Pole is completely flat, so this was like nothing they had ever seen. Brian estimated the hole to be at least 300 feet in diameter, roughly the size of a football field. Confounded by what they had all seen, the crew continued en route to the Davis station, where they picked up the injured scientist and headed back to the McMurdo station. When the aircraft landed, the entire crew was escorted to the senior commander's office, where they were all ordered to never speak of the restricted area or what they had seen again. Brian said he did not know what it was they were supposed to have seen that was so important. He said all we saw was a hole in the ice. If this is all that was to be seen, why did the crew flying over this so-called air station elicit such attention from high-ranking officials? What exactly was it they were not supposed to have seen? Brian believes what he saw was an opening to something highly top secret. Brian has flown this path many times before and after, and never saw the hole before or since. How is this possible? A hole the size of a football field simply vanished. Or is it possibly being hidden or cloaked in some way? Is it possible that top secret, or even perhaps extraterrestrial bases, are being hidden beneath the ice on Antarctica, as reports are indicating? Curiously, the idea of habitable space beneath the ice has been recently backed up by mainstream science. In 2017, researchers from the Australian National University discovered the existence of vast ice caverns directly adjacent to Mount Erebus. This active volcano is located on Ross Island in Antarctica. Due to their location, these glacial caves beneath the ice offer something incredibly unique from the otherwise frigid continent. Large heated spaces with temperatures warm enough to sustain life, according to the researchers. Mount Erebus is just one of the more than 90 volcanoes on Antarctica. Today's modern technology has enabled scientists to discover additional caverns near these features, and some are reportedly as large as the entire island of Manhattan. Could these naturally heated caverns and tunnels really be inhabited by extraterrestrials, as so many now believe? The ideas of open passageways that appear to run deep under the Antarctic ice sheets, and also the presence of extraterrestrial life at the South Pole, is really nothing new. In 1926, Admiral Richard Byrd made worldwide headlines when he and Navy Chief Aviation pilot Floyd Bennett became the first people to ever fly over the North Pole. For their efforts, both men received the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later, when Byrd was at the age of 41, he made the first solo flight over the South Pole and became the youngest person ever promoted to the rank of admiral in the history of the United States Navy. In 1946, Admiral Byrd oversaw Operation High Jump, the largest Antarctic expedition ever to date. The massive military convoy included 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 troops. Based on witness testimony of the events and Admiral Richard Byrd's own written journals, during the journey to the South Pole, the convoy was suddenly and without provocation attacked by craft coming up out of the water. The craft were said to be making movements that no one could identify. The unknown craft dealt the convoy a heavy blow. Operation High Jump was forced to turn back. When Admiral Byrd returned to the States, he gave his report. In March of 1947, Byrd said that a new enemy has been discovered, an enemy that can fly from pole to pole in an instant, and that America needs to be prepared for these invaders before it happens. So is it possible that this incredible story of a naval battle with extraterrestrials and encounters with craft capable of flying from the South Pole to the North Pole in an instant could actually be true? In 2018, more than 70 years after Byrd's astonishing claim, a satellite image captured what appeared to be a condensed water trail from an aircraft that could only have been produced by something traveling at an incredibly high speed. The maximum length of time that a contrail can maintain its shape is roughly 30 minutes, but most dissipate in less than 15. Only a craft capable of traveling faster than 50,000 miles per hour, or 10 times the speed of the fastest aircraft in existence today, could leave a contrail that would stretch the entire length of the Earth without breaking up. To this day, the mystery of what created this contrail has still not been explained. So is it possible that Admiral Byrd and the U.S. Navy really did encounter alien technology in Antarctica? And could our government now be developing and working with extraterrestrials that are still living there today? Scientific anomalies, radar and satellite images, eyewitness accounts. As more and more pieces of the puzzle start to come together, might we soon be able to solve the mysteries hidden under the Antarctic continent? And if so, just what might we discover, hidden and buried deep beneath the Antarctic ice? Today, many believe that what is hidden under the ice has been there for a very, very long time, and they are not extraterrestrials. There are those who now believe what is actually hiding in the Antarctic is something very ancient. An evil that has plagued humankind since the beginning. An evil that plans on making a return to the surface very soon. An evil that very well may cause a man's heart to fail them in fear. This has been the Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching the Confidential Report.